Andrea Tessmann.
Yes, Kirk Buchner.
Technically, we've been renewed for another season.
Yay! It's amazing what happens when you self-publish.
Absolutely. It is incredible. I mean, like, I guess barring sort of people having a backlash towards the pedophile jokes from last week and the jokes I'm probably going to make this week, you know, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. And I picked a shitty one to start off season 2. And I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking other than I didn't really do a deep dive into this song before and really understanding it. I just thought it was cheesy as shit. And obviously those listening and watching, you know what it is because you clicked on it, you swiped on it. It's Helen Reddy's I Am Woman. Kind of like last week, our closing of We Are the World, a very important song, yet still sucks.
Yeah. So this,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know that it's a product of its time. I think this one we can say went to well, there's a few reasons, but it is, it's entirely a product of its time. It was written to make a statement.
Which it does.
It was, the song itself, it seems like, was written to be catchy and maybe get commercial success.
Which it did.
Eventually. And there's nothing great about it.
Well, I guess we should dissect first. Who is Helen Reddy? I remembered her, and this again will sound offensive to some, and I don't care, but I remembered her as a kid as this unattractive woman who just didn't fit the mold. And that part I got right. She was an unattractive woman who didn't really fit the mold of what a 70s pop star was supposed to look like. She didn't come from a place where that was supposed to look like. Australia, as we've covered, I guess we should have gotten the Aussies for this. I don't think of this as an Aussie song, so I didn't once even think of reaching out to the Aussie clan. I would have to been drunk because that's our trend, you know, drink whenever I've got Aussies. But
well, I mean, she was very much an American when the song came out at that point. And the song is not an Aussie song. She eventually repatriated back to Australia, but yes, this is technically the first number one by an Aussie, but she wasn't really, like, she'd been in the States for quite a few years. She was living, working, married to an American. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're really getting a whole idea of the Aussie experience at all with this song. So yeah, in terms of the Australian zeitgeist, I should say, I don't know that this is necessarily there. I didn't realize, a lot of things I didn't realize, that there was actually a biopic.
I didn't realize that either until it was too late to watch it.
Well, I could have watched it. I chose not to. I couldn't be bothered. I have no interest in this woman. So yeah, that's why I picked to do this. But let's look at what the song does well. Lyrically, this makes a statement. And if we're going back to the early 70s, with this whole wave of feminism, all of which I think that even in modern eyes, we can say like, yeah, this is awesome. Did Helen Reddy really perpetuate this, or did she write about what was going on around her?
There's a couple of stories about how the song was written, one from her and one from the guy that wrote the music. Basically of her saying she was looking for a statement about feminism and about her thoughts and feelings, and so she realized there wasn't anything out there, so she was going to write it herself. Then the guy that wrote the song, the music, basically said, well, she was bitching and complaining that,
which is weird because women don't do that.
Hey, not all women, Kirk.
Sorry, go ahead.
So he told her, well, you write down some words and I'll put it to music. So, who knows? He seems to have been screwed over in this whole process because
Oh, was he? I missed that. Was he like in royalties and whatnot?
yeah, basically he had to go back because he was Australian too, and he
Okay.
was struggling and wasn't able to actually get a work visa. So he went back to Australia and then missed out on the royalties, and then they paid him out. I couldn't see how much, but it was apparently a pittance, and that was in the 90s. He had to actually sue them, and it
Wow.
was a
This is
pittance
ironic.
compared to what he would have gotten if he had been in the States and actually gotten his fair share of the royalties. I mean, you think he wrote the music, she wrote the lyrics. Should be a pretty 50-50 split.
Interesting. So like the men get screwed over here. That's kind of a different turn. Still sucks though. How's that
Yeah,
equality?
the men get screwed over on the feminist song.
It does seem kind of. I missed that one completely doing the research. I was actually trying to focus on the era,
Mm.
you know, and why, and trying to like paint myself back in that picture and just learn as much as I could. And it's hard because like I don't really remember. I guess growing up in the '80s, that I mean, yeah, you saw men own the space more in terms of executives and whatnot. But I never thought, and this is the way I thought as a kid, I never thought that there was necessarily an inequality so much as it was women catching up and now they could. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm sure there was still a lot of inequality.
Oh, of course there is. Still is.
There still is,
Yeah.
in different ways, but she made a comment at one point about, opening for a comedian, and as he basically slaps her ass as she's going off the stage and says, go get naked in my change room. I'll be right over when the set's done.
Which you could do then. I'm not saying it's good.
But it's belittling and embarrassing. Oh, God, yeah. So yeah. So anyways, I get the feminist thing. It's the song itself is not exactly a roar though. It's this.
Well, let's look at that. Right?
Happy, chirpy. I read something that said it's not a declaration, it's an affirmation. I got the whole.
I like
going
that.
Through it, I get the impression of the picture of like the kid or the animal looking in the mirror being like, and you're important and you're pretty and you're smart. Like it seems like it's like that sort of a like mantra, like I'm strong and I'm
I didn't think I was going to be the bigger defender of this song, but look, here we go. Wow.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
Are important.
I was actually going to like pay a lot of compliments to the opening lyrics but I guess musically, I think musically, this is elevator music, which is probably why I hate it. I hate music that can't, and I'm not talking lyrics, just the music itself. Maybe that's why he should have got screwed out of this, but then I don't know what other music works with this. So what do I know? But it starts off with that country twang. That's how I felt it.
Yep.
And then that's gone after like the first 5 to 10 seconds. Well, my dog has brought a non-squeaky toy. That's all right, buddy. But I like the first line. I am woman, hear me roar. That's about as good an opening line of any song that's going to actually say, this is, right now what this song's about, and you can open up anything with this. I think like that's her statement song from that. I don't know if it's the best opening line in a song, but it might be one of the most fitting. Mm-hmm. And then goes there. And numbers too big to ignore. Now I found a promo video for this. I mean, the first thing that always comes up on YouTube is her on the Midnight Special. Mm-hmm. But then I found a promo of it, and she's just basically walking in the park, and I kept thinking, the number's too big to. Well, where are the rest of the numbers? You couldn't just find some random woman to walk behind you, because that's kind of the point here.
I just have to let my dog out. I'll be 2 seconds. Oh, come on. You're okay.
Well, why not have your dog interrupt like my dog is? Usually,
she's about to, I see she's fussing like she wants to go outside, but really she's just like staring at me.
Well, Opal's the girl dog, and she was woman. Hear her bark. Hi, Opal. How you doing?
She's like, I don't look at cameras.
No. All right, so then, and I like where this goes, and I know too much to go back because I've heard it all before. It's okay. We were getting somewhere. We're not giving up what we got. I like this. I mean, this is for that era, for that period. I'm down with this as maybe like slam poetry or something, not necessarily the way she delivers it.
And I think that's a lot of it. Is a lot of the lyrics are great. I really like the I'm wise, but it's wisdom born of pain.
Yeah.
I've paid the price, but look how much I've gained. Like there's some good meaning and message there. It just doesn't quite fit with the delivery.
No, I mean, like the women that I've talked to who feel sort of empowered by a lot of music, it's usually from other people, a lot of the Riot Girl scene that I've talked to, and other that, like, they felt more empowered by that than necessarily anything that Helen Reddy ever did. Maybe it might be the people I'm talking to. You know?
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, I was brought up in the like late 80s and 90s where our feminist songs were angry. Like
Alanis?
Like Alanis.
Yeah.
Like Goodbye Earl. Like,
oh shit, yeah, that's a
Lady Killers, song. Meredith Brooks, Bitch. Like,
that's not a great song.
I like that one.
Yeah, sure. We get to hear all these things that she is, and then she forgot one thing. Irrelevant now. Sorry.
Still a great karaoke song.
Yeah, didn't you say that was one of your go-tos, karaoke?
One of my go-tos. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess maybe it's a different thing. It's a different era. So when I think feminist songs and feminist empowerment, it's generally much angrier. It got nicer again in the 2000s. You think Katy Perry kind of softened up the scene again?
I don't consider Katy Perry a feminist icon because she lied
about. I
don't
consider her a feminist icon, but songs like Roar, which is obviously directly taken from this.
All right, fair.
There's.
I didn't think of that song. All right. Yeah, and even the end of that chorus, I am strong, strong, I am invincible, invincible, I am woman. All right, so I could see a lot of young women then helping propel this to the top. Now you read a lot, or I read a lot, that this was like a male repellent song. And of course it is, because it's not going to speak to a man. It wasn't meant to. That's okay. Women are, in numbers too big to ignore, half the population. That's a pretty big chunk that you can try to drive to get this through and get this to the top. And it did. But again,
that's exactly what got it to the top, because when it released, it flopped. It was never released. It wasn't released as a single. It was just sort of a afterthought on the album.
Right.
And then it was used in the opening credits of a movie or something.
Yeah. What was that movie? Damn it. Some Stand Up and Be Counted. I never heard of it. But
no, apparently it opened and closed the same week in the box office.
But and then she kind of rejiggered it apparently to just.
So I think the studio, hoping for a hit because of the movie, they had her add a verse to it to extend it past the 2.5 minutes, and redid it a little with new backing and whatnot, and then
those 2 years make a huge difference, right? Because if you're looking at 1970 and 1972, so now you're 3 years removed from Woodstock and the counterculture, and also, I don't want to say that the civil rights movement had lost a bit of steam, but it kind of did. And you're always sort of fighting something. And maybe at this point too, you're 72, you're sick of Nixon, who just won. And I don't know if Nixon was a misogynist or a sexist, but you kind of believe he is. I would. I don't know.
I kind of believe that.
That's got to play a part into this, right?
Yeah, probably. And I think that 70s feminist movement was really picking up steam at that point. But that's where the song wasn't getting airplay, but some women heard it and started calling into radio stations and requesting it.
And why not listen to them? Because you don't really care, I think, if you're a radio. Well, you'd know this probably better than I would. I think, like, you're not really caring about the demographics so much, whether it's male, female. And why wouldn't you want women to sort of be there? They're more of the purchasing power of the household anyway. More so then.
In reality, you would think who's listening to the radio during the day, especially. Men are at work, women are at home with the radio on while they're doing their chores.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that women could be, yeah, you're right. They're the ones making the decisions to buy Dawn dish soap. So they would be the ones driving ad revenue on the radio, and so playing what they request makes sense.
Yeah. Now, I don't know where we sort of go from there. I mean, I wish we had someone more from that generation to speak to on this, but I will say this about Helen. I knew she had another big hit in Delta Dawn. I didn't remember Angie Baby going number. I don't remember that one at all.
Nope.
No. So this was not one and done for Helen. This was the start of something pretty good. I would think that it also sort of, not to beleaguer her looks, but screw it. I mean, she looked like a housewife, like a mousy woman. I look like fat Ricky Schroeder. I know what I look like. And it certainly made me feel a lot better when I was a kid. You ever seen the actor Paul Williams?
I can't.
You ever seen the movie Phantom of the Paradise?
No.
All right, Google Paul Williams later. He was this real short blonde guy, and almost in every movie he did, he always got a pile of chicks, and he was not great looking. And knowing what I looked like as a little kid, I thought, all right, there's hope for me. When you see him, Google him. He follows me.
I did just Google him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So she wasn't a one-hit wonder. She had just one of the most popular pop icons, female pop icons of the era.
But I don't consider her pop though.
I
mean, I know it is, but
contemporary, but it's pop. I mean, at the time, she was 3 songs topping the Billboard charts in a couple of years. That's
how many people can say that?
Yeah, it's a lot. I like that she married her husband 3 days after they met. Almost entirely for her green card.
Yeah.
But they were married for a few years. He was her manager or publicist or something. I don't know. He helped her career. And apparently also they broke up after his second bout of rehab for a massive cocaine addiction, where he was
that's where her money went, huh?
The current day equivalent of like $250,000 a year on cocaine. But they also apparently were super extravagant in like mansions and yachts and fancy parties and yeah. So yeah, apparently by the time they broke up in 81, they'd spent most of the like $40 million they'd amassed.
Well, you know what? Go big. I mean, you didn't sing about giving back to the poor. I am woman, hear me roar. I give all stuff back to the poor. No. So like I could do anything, and I did. I made a shit ton of money, and I blew it for my stupid choices in a husband. There you go.
Yep.
You sent me something about an hour ago. I don't know how we go back to chickens, but you did. Can you tell everyone what you sent me?
I am chicken, hear me roar.
From Sesame Street.
It was a Sesame Street clip of chickens, especially like a chicken singing about how basically tasty and delicious they are.
I was waiting for Gonzo to show up.
I so was. I was really hoping it was a Gonzo clip because it would just tie in so well to our recent discussions
and
about
And Gonzo finds chicken delicious. In fact, when he penetrates them digitally, he calls it's chicken finger.
Wah, wah.
Brad would have laughed.
He would have.
Right.
You're not Fonzie though.
I'm not Fonzie.
Fozzie.
Oh, Fozzie. Okay.
You're not Fozzie the bear.
Okay. Now, Waka. Actually, I always thought it was more of like one of the old Muppets, like in the balcony.
Stadler and Waldorf. Yeah,
Yes.
that suits you more.
I think so. Yeah, this podcast isn't half bad. Yeah, it's all bad. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, I guess that puts an interesting bow on what I think is a very pertinent elevator song. I'm happy not to listen to any more Helen Reddy because I don't. Needless to say, her voice metaphorically doesn't speak to me, and her voice literally doesn't intrigue me. And the music arrangements, I think, they're boring. They were boring then, they're boring now.
There's a reason why she has no relevance in that I'm Woman Hear Me Roar is everywhere, absolutely everywhere, but nobody knows really who she is in this day and age.
No, I think the whole pile of people probably only know the name Helen Reddy from watching Family Guy Blue Harvest. Helen Reddy standing by. And that might be it.
I also really like the David Letterman bit where throughout the show she just keeps popping in singing.
Oh yeah, I found that too. That I like. I mean, she seems like someone I would actually kind of like. I mean, she's passed away a couple years ago, but musically, I just don't feel it. And half of it I'll say because I'm a guy, it's not speaking to me. Now, if you did that song, I Am Woman, and let me tell you all the types of woman that actually classifies as woman. Hey, it's befuddling to me. I don't know quite what to say. Hey, call yourself whatever you want, but here's a question. So let's say there are a bunch of celebrities here that go into a bank, all right? And then a bunch of bank robbers come, but it screws up and there's a hostage. Now, three of the celebrities in there are Elliot Page, Caitlyn Jenner, and Demi Lovato. All right, the negotiators come and say, okay, can you agree to let all the women go? Who goes out of those three?
I'm not going to answer that. Who identifies as a woman?
Okay, so Caitlyn Jenner, the 6'2", might be a senior citizen, but can still probably kick people's ass, leaves. The 5'1" person stays. Now, Demi, all right, now you're non-binary. Okay. How committed are you to this? That's what I want to know. How committed are you to this thing? I'm not a woman. Hear me do a show.
All right. How about we get back on track?
I thought about this today. I figured, I knew you weren't going to respond to this because I wouldn't either. But I'm kind of curious. You ever watch Star Trek Next Generation?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember that episode where Picard meets this one guy and he's a negotiator and he's got and he doesn't talk, but he's got two people behind them. So he thinks something and then the telepaths sort of like have to say what it is they're thinking.
No.
All right. Well, I beamed down whatever. And so Picard says, Picard says to one of the empaths, well, it's good to no, address me, because the other one's but he doesn't talk. So Picard just says, well, you have to forgive me. I'm very new to this form of communication. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of non-binary stuff. I don't really know where we are. And I don't know whether a song about I am non-binary, hear me roar, or maybe not, but make sure you get my pronouns right. Because there's numbers here that change all the time because some of us are fluid too. Good thing we can't get canceled, huh?
Oh, Kirk. So you want to know what we're going to dive into next week?
I thought you would have stopped me 2 minutes ago. I wanted to see how far you were going to let me go.
So,
yeah. What do we got next week?
Next week, we are going to look at Alan O'Day,
Undercover Angel.
Undercover Angel.
All right. I don't know much about this. I'll look into that.
I just know it's pretty horrible.
Okay. I think it was used in the Charlie's Angels reboot, but I'm not sure.
Could be.
Hmm.
Basically, yeah. Guy's really lonely.
What
A
is it?
strange woman appears in his bed randomly and then disappears again after.
Oh
days.
yeah, sounds like my dating history.
And then
Let that happen.
he's searching for someone to be her.
Oh, okay, this could be real interesting. I just know this. I just know the beat to it, but I never listened to any. All right.
The lyrics are pretty terrible.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we got a good one. And for those who I offended, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It's like I don't get it.
He's not really sorry.
No, I'm not. But I am curious. Not bi-curious, but curious nevertheless. I
All
should
right.
stop now, huh?
You should stop now.
Should have stopped 5 minutes ago, but you missed your cue. All right.
Good night, Kirk.
Stay safe, everybody.